Hello everyone, I'm Richard and you're watching the Cabinet Wise Workshop. Thanks for joining me. Today we are back in the workshop and we're about to do some real work. Today's project is a rift white oak cabinet that will have large pocket doors, and I'm going to show how I make these doors and how I install them and what hardware I use. All right, so you're joining me here in the middle of the build. I've already constructed these cabinets here. So today the focus is going to be shaker doors with rift white oak hardwood center panels with decorative cutouts, which will be large pocket doors that will be housing a washer and dryer. So now let's get those doors made. We have the stiles, which are the vertical, and the rails, which are the horizontal. Have the tongue and groove already cut for our shaker doors. We are indeed making our own doors. I know oftentimes we order them from Caldor, but we are making these with hardwood 1/2-inch center panels out of rift white oak. So we've milled up 1/2-inch thick planks of white oak, glued them together. That's already been done. So this is where we are at. The focus of the build is going to be completing these doors and then showing you how I install these large pocket doors that will cover up a washer and dryer. For anyone curious, these are the bits that are used for these shaker doors. CMT orange tools. Adjustable tongue and groove bit set for doors. Ooh. So the first thing we're going to do is get the size of our center panel. They've been made oversized. And then for the height of the center panel, since these are 1/2-inch thick and we have 1/4-inch grooves in the doors, we're going to use the 1/2-inch rabbet. And always remember to exercise table saw safety. All right, now that these are cut to size, I can rabbet out the 1/2-inch rabbet all the way around. So let's do that next. That now fits. So right here I have a template that was made up by a friend nearby who has a CNC machine. With this template, I'm going to make the decorative cutouts. Let's go take a look at our plans for a moment. Here we have the 2 large pocket doors that will hide the washer dryer. These are the decorative cutouts that we have. And then these are to match. This is the hamper pullout. This is the door hinged on the left side. So now, let's work on the placement of these cutouts. So we're going to find our top 4 inches down from the top of the door. So we have our 3/8 that it's going to go into the frame of the door. Line here. And then I'm going to find the center line of the door. So 15 inches, that would be at 7.5. That is our center line. So this will be our placement. And there we have the placement of our cutouts. Next, I'm going to show you a little trick. Many of you know this, using masking tape and instant bond adhesive with accelerator, and we're going to use this to fasten temporarily the template to the center panel so that I can use a router to route out the perfect shape. See, I've already done a few test pieces, drilling out a hole in the center and then putting the bit through and then routing the oval. All right, so now that we found our location, I'm going to now set the template where it needs to be. A couple marks in place I'm going to lay out some masking tape on that line. Then I'll put masking tape on the back side. Now that I've done that, I have a contact patch the template to the door panel without risking damaging the door panel. I'm going to apply glue to the masking tape. Adhesive, and I come down here. And that's going to create a bond to the other masking tape. We're going to line up our line here. It's all where it needs to be, and drop it down and press down. And now, you see that is one with it. So that will hold this in place. I'm just going to set it on these little cleats I have here. Now I just have a 1/2-inch spade bit here. Just going to drill out the center. So now we have the holes drilled in the center. And then we flip it over. We have a little tear out, but it does not matter because we will be creating those ovals. That's just going to be the entry point for our router. Go through like this. So next we're just going to want to make sure we set the depth to where it needs to be. So we're just going to come through the back side. And we're going to make sure we're about in the middle of the template there so that this bearing can ride on this MDF 3/8 template. And here we go. All of our work has led up to this point. You want to make sure you don't make a mistake at this point in the game because a lot of work has gone into making these center panels and I did not make any extras. So if you mess up, it's game over. Start inside the hole, make sure you're right in the center, hold firmly, and then turn on the router. And there we have it. We have one of our ovals perfectly cut out. Now let's go to the next. And there we have it, our decorative vent cutouts. Looking pretty cool. This, again, is the back of the panel. So the face is over here. So let's take a look at that. We can now take our template off. Let's see if we can take it off. Oh yeah, not too bad at all. As you see, just the masking tape comes right off. That's the whole point of it. And then you just peel that all off. And just like that, we have our center panel. So now we can begin our glue up. We have all the parts in place. They're all the correct size. We have our stiles. We have our rails, decorative cutouts. So let's begin the assembly. I'm going to use these bar clamps to clamp them. Tight Bond wood glue. Just dab a little glue in there, press that in, all right, and then we flip it up, and this is where we slide in the center panel. So you're seeing the back. Let's flip it around. There's the front. There, nice glue squeeze out here. Down. Check the squareness before I start clamping it. And here is the front. Look at that. Solid hardwood. The 1/2 inch thickness gives those cutouts a bit of depth without seeing the core of plywood, which we would if we would have used plywood center panels. The center panel in. Nice. And there we have it. So the next step is going to be to cut a kerf cut right down the middle of this wider rail so that it mimics the look over there. It's meant to look like it is 2 doors so that it all lines up. Then after I do the kerf cut, I'm going to install the pocket doors. We're getting close, everybody. And for the depth, I really don't want it to go all the way down like that. We want to set the depth just so it comes out just a little, you know, probably only about an 1/8 inch or so will do it. All right, so this is our hardware set. All the parts. I know it can seem a bit daunting when there's so many pieces, but it will all make sense shortly. So this hardware set is made by Nape and Vogt. Anyway, 4x4 pocket door slide, KV8090 series. So this is how it operates. 2 hinges per slide for extra stability because they are tall doors. Total height is 79 1/4. The width is 17 3/8. So they're not massive, but they are on the large side. This is the plate that is connected to the slide. We then take our base plate. We're going to screw them to this metal plate here, and that is what the hinge clips into. Our next step is going to be boring the doors. 2 holes for the top of the door and 2 holes for the bottom of the door. One more thing, I almost forgot, there are these stability rods. That's the rod going all the way through. That is for this track. See, the wheels ride on the track like that. See, they can have a race. Slide goes on top of it. Wheels sit on the track, and then the rod is going to go through and connect them top to the bottom. This is incredibly important and incredibly effective. So here at the boring station, we're going to change out this 35mm bit, the 40mm versus the 35. Let's set that in. All right, 2 3/4, it's recommended from the bottom of the door to drill the first hole, and then 3.78 inches, just a little bit over 3 3/4. I'm gonna get right in the center of that line. Hole number 2. Now that the holes are drilled, I'm going to go ahead and put the hinges in. now that I have these hinges on, I'm going to go ahead and do the second door. Now we have the hinges in both doors. All right, now to put the slide in the cabinet. I've determined that it needs to be 5 1/4 down from the top of the opening and 7/8 back. I'm going to take my square and go to 7/8 back. So this will be our slide placement. All right, both are on. Now that these are both on, I'm going to do a quick test fit just to make sure it really is in the right location. We'll then take it back off and add the stabilizer bar and the wheels that will run on these little tracks. So here's our door. Moment of truth. All right, that clipped in. One installed pocket door. This wheel will go on the track, as I said before. This clip screws in here, which will hold the stabilizer bar. So we have one of these sleeves and then the clip, wheel this side up. When using these wheels, it is important to note there is an up and a down. It does matter. If you reverse it, the tread pattern will not line up correctly. There we go. It's fastened now to the top and the bottom. And it moves perfectly in tandem, top to bottom. Very important for a tall door like this. And if you hear at the end, a satisfying click, and they both clicked at the same time, indicating it can be closed. Look at that. I put a stop up there, but that's how it will look. And then I have a 1/4 inch gap at the bottom. It will sit directly on the floor. It's sitting up on some protective cleats right now. Now I'm going to clip the second door in place. Works just as good as the first. And there we have it. Hope you guys have enjoyed so far this video. If you've found value in this, please consider subscribing. I do enjoy making these videos very much, and I appreciate all of your support. And now the whole picture is starting to take shape. We've reached the end.